from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who, you could say I boringly but boldly go where few podcasters have ever meandered to. And tonight, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be covering part of a famous Star Trek movie, one of the great ones that, is about, is tangentially related to one of my favorite singers. Yeah, you might say, okay, which one is it? So, well, it's tough to say. In the beginning of a podcast, you could say, let's see. I'll give you a couple hints. If you're new to the podcast, this kind of behavior is pretty standard for this sleep podcast. So here it's a original series Star Trek movie. First hint, grapes of, okay. And if you don't have it, there's three words in it. That's the first word, grapes of, okay, good work. The third word is, I guess it's probably like the sixth or seventh because it's like Star Trek, the motion picture. But I think, so the third word in my paradigm for this is, James, actor, James, that's actually not helpful. James, an actor named James who has a son named Scott, their last name, or rhymes with, okay, there was a movie, sounds like, or kind of is this totally different spelling and meaning, and not exactly the same sounds, but very, very similar. Sounds very much like there was a movie that I think Nicolas Cage or Cage was in, where he flew, not the movie where he lived on the island off of, or where he visited the island off of, so maybe he wasn't in this movie. But it was a movie. These are all dated references. Anyway, welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We're here to keep you company, take your mind off stuff. So if you're new, this is a silly little show meant to just hang out with you, take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep. It does take some getting used to for a lot of people, not everybody. But give it a few tries because I'm just here to hang out with you for your benefit tonight so you could fall asleep or at least have some companionship and distraction. So try it out. Sleep with me. The only podcast where I say, try it out, see how it goes. That sounds fair enough. I'll try to put you to sleep because I've had trouble sleeping my whole life. That's why I make the show. And so what we got coming up here is support, then a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then we'll be covering probably 50% of this motion picture. And all told, we'll be here over an hour. If you're new, don't worry about the support part of the show. If you're occasional listen, if you like this podcast, but you only listen occasionally, sometimes, you can always follow the show in your podcast app of choice. Try out some different independent podcast apps. That's a way to help the podcast and the podcast community in general. Comment on podcasts you listen to or Sleep With Me, wherever if there's comments, or leave a nice review. And then if you say, well, I like this podcast even more, you spread the word about the show. Let somebody know about it. It's a free way to help every podcast you listen to. Just tell one person about the show, share about it. Join our referral live streams. But if the podcast changes your life on a regular basis, multiple nights a week for multiple years or months at a time, or you listen to multiple episodes a night, or you fall asleep very fast on a regular basis, we really could, you're the listener I'm talking to that I could use your support right now, either supporting one of these sponsors or the show directly. But there's all those other ways to help out the podcast as well. So here you go. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. You know that feeling when you walk out of a doctor's office and you think, wow, I feel so much better now. They really listened to me. They really explained to me what was going on. I felt heard. I felt seen. The right doctor can make you feel lighter, clearer, gives you hope everything's going to be all right. And I had that kind of relationship with my doctor in California. I felt like he listened to me. It felt like he took his time with me. But unfortunately, I moved all the way across the country. I'm in a whole new system now. But guess what? You can find those kind of doctors that make you feel good, that really listen on ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high-quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with over 150,000 providers across all 50 states. Whether you're looking for dermatology, dentistry, primary care, eye care, or one of the other 200-plus specialties offered on ZocDoc, you could easily search for specialty or symptom to build the care team that's right for you. View thousands of verified patient reviews to give you a real sense of who your doctor is. Maybe they don't like small talk, or maybe you root for the same sports team. Whatever it is, you can feel confident that you can book with a doctor you know you'll love. And here's the thing I'm finding here of why ZocDoc is so much better, because the doctors on ZocDoc are available. Every time I ask somebody in person here about their primary care physician or their dentist, they say, oh, they're not taking new patients. But with ZocDoc, I don't have to worry about that feeling. I can find a doctor I like, and then I can book an appointment with them. And that's one of the reasons I love ZocDoc, and you should check it out too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/sleep to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, ZocDoc, for sponsoring this message. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. This is where I normally try to get people to support the show at Sleep With Me Plus, but I'm trying to change things up because requests for support have not been, they're just to kind of try, like, I don't know. It's not, what I'm doing is not working, right? So I got some questions. You could answer them. You could think about them, or you don't need to, though. Like when you think about supporting the show, or me like saying, hey, can you support the podcast in the varying degrees of intensity I tend to ask, does that feel like one more decision you have to make at the end of a long day, or something you don't want to, you're like, I'm just here to go to sleep, right? Like, I don't want to think about how to make this show sustainable. Or is it something else? And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing, right? That's if you're a regular listener, right? The podcast changes your life for the better. And you've never let me know about this. Like, because last year, tons of people let me know. They said, I can't afford to support the show, or I just don't support podcasts. But I haven't heard from listeners like you that like are regular listeners. You've never supported the show, but you've never said, I'm not going to support the show. So if you do want me to listen and I could get to know things a little bit better, you can fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/listen. Thanks. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And hey, the thing I've been talking about lately is like there's ways to support the show beyond the sponsors and supporting the show directly. If you're an occasional listener, right? If you're a new listener or you can't afford to support the show, follow the show on your podcast app of choice. Make sure to like or comment if your app allows that, and say hi. Spread the word about the show in person when it comes up, or let people know about it. Go ahead right now. Follow the show on your podcast app right now. Then you get the latest episodes and stuff like that. Great. Yeah, spread the word when you can, or sign up we're relaunching our referral program. It's going to be based with like live stream get-togethers every once in a while. We're going to make it more fun. You can sign up for that. sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer, REFER. Thanks, and what do you say we get down with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing? Trouble getting to sleep? Trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you can set aside whatever is keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, stuff you're thinking about, thoughts about the past, present, the future. So thoughts, it could be feelings related to those thoughts, or feelings that are just making a bedtime appearance, physical sensations, maybe you have a change in the time, the temperature, the season, your routine, your work schedule, or you work a different schedule or an inconsistent schedule, you're traveling, you got guests. Or it's something else, or you're just in the middle of it, right? Or a lot of times for me, you just don't even know what. You see, I followed all these rules, and it's still, I guess it's a bit like the way this movie opens that we're going to be covering a little bit of, where you say, like I say, I followed all the protocols and the rules. How come it's still not working out for me at bedtime? And so I guess someone else might say, well, just don't even, I'm beyond the rules. And I say, oh, I don't know about, I don't think I am. Not that I follow them. I still, even if I don't color within the lines, I do still need the line. I am aware of that when I'm coloring. When I'm making art, I'm also not an illustrator. I'm not just, there's some things I'm talented at. That's not one of them. But I am good at making titles, so I'll either make a title and then try to draw something or collage something so that fits the title, or do something and then create a title that fits. So I still need the title or I still need my imagination. But when it's okay to color outside the lines. But I always say, okay, but these lines are also, is this, hold on, if you've been listening to the show a long time, do you think this is a sign of growth? I may be growing up while I make it a show, because normally I'm on one side or the other. No, I don't want any lines to follow, please. Or I say, well, I wish I could follow lines. My life would be like that. If I could color within the lines when I wanted to, all my problems would be fixed. But if I'm paying attention, I just heard myself say, oh, there's kind of a plus side to both. I could see that, wow. And I'm still able to make a sleep podcast, even though I've had some sort of internal growth. You say, what kind of could you run through your personal milestones for us? Like, more of your growth-based ones, your internal personal growth milestones. Well, yeah, there was the one time when I was trying to actually introduce a sleep podcast, and then I got distracted. Then I thought I was trying to make a metaphor about something. Maybe about not being able to get to sleep. And then I got distracted by the tests they give on for Starfleet officers. Then I was thinking about coloring. Then I was thinking about coloring within the lines. And then I realized there is a benefit to having the lines to color within or without of or in sync of. And that's a pretty big moment for me. Oh, I put you to sleep. Look, I put the researcher to sleep. Okay, so whatever it is that's keeping you awake, you may be wondering, even though I went on a pointless meander there, why would I even talk about what's keeping you awake? Like, I came here to escape that. And this show is about a storytelling journey and distraction and somewhat of a vacation. But this show really isn't a total escape. It exists within all of that. We're a part of the world. And that includes my internal world and maybe your internal world too. Or maybe you could get comfortable with that at some point. Like we're a safe place within these worlds, where you could rest. And so when I talk about what's keeping us awake, the reason I do that is because one of the things that brings people to the show is a sense that no one else really gets it, that they're on their own. And that no one understands what's like that, what it's like for them when they struggle. And I don't know if that's you. That's not every person that comes to the show, but that's what it's like for me. And that's what it's like for a lot of people that listen. And the thing is that that's only important because, like around here, you're allowed to be you. And we welcome that. And the fact is like that if you've been looking for a place to get some rest and some distraction, maybe this is the right place or maybe it's not. But it's important to point out you're welcome here. And we do have a shared understanding. And you may say to yourself, this podcast guy does not understand. There's no way he could have experienced what it is that I'm dealing with, whatever it is that's keeping me awake. And I would say, okay, no, I can see that. The good news is there's a lot of people listening around the world, really caring, welcoming people that are welcoming you. And there's some of them that are really rooting for you because they've been through something similar. And they're holding that safe place, even though it's indirect and maybe tangential within the world. Like they're trying to send that safe place to you, like through their well wishes, because they've been someplace very similar. And they do know what it's like. And they're like, hey, I hope this show can help you like it helped me, because I'm really glad I found it. And that maybe if you become a regular listener, you get that experience. I'm going to get ready for bed. I'm going to get in bed, get comfortable, listen to this meandering scoots, and think fondly of somebody I don't even know. But I know we share that thing around bedtime that's not that pleasant. And I hope that new person out there gets some relief from it, even if it's just in this moment. And that's the heart of the podcast, because you deserve a bedtime where you could get the rest you need, so your life is better tomorrow. You deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread, where it could at least have some sort of pleasant routine to it, that even if you don't look forward to it, you'll say, well, at least that guy's going to go on off topic a bunch and get mixed up, and he's pleasant enough. Scooter, he's not the best. He's pleasant enough. This is the only place where that's like, I do a victory lap. Did you say I'm pleasant enough? Or pleasant enough? I'm going to do a victory lap. Because while I may strive to be more than that, that's a pretty great achievement around here. Yeah, it's not bad. Did you just say I'm not bad? Thank you. That's so nice of you to say. And I say that again without snark or irony. It's like, yeah, it's not that bad. Sleeping with me is not it's not half bad. I mean, it's kind of something. I say, holy cow! You're really almost. I'm glad the Harris is watching me humble brag here and saying, "Scooch, you better move on." With his smile, it's warming my heart right now. So that's why I make the show, to help you out. And the thing is, if you get the rest you need on a regular basis, maybe you could be out there in the world flourishing. And if you're flourishing in the world, that means our whole world's a better place. That's pretty nice. Now, the way the podcast works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. So I go off topic. I get mixed up. I don't even know. All that stuff that happened earlier happens a lot. And then I find myself, I said, where did I even go off on that meander? I don't even remember. So that's a part of the show. And that is one of the things that it does take some getting used to. My voice is not traditionally soothing. The show does not have any gongs or bells or tolls. I mean, occasionally there'll be some counting down, but not in the traditionally soothing sense. This show's kind of soothing. And it's way more gooey than guru-y. And when you first get here, I'm not sure what brought you here, but maybe you searched for the show. Maybe you found it in a listing or somebody recommended it. But whatever it is that brought you here, you probably had some reasonable expectation of what the show was going to be like, and it's probably not what you expected. And it is very different. It does take some getting used to. In fact, most people that support the show on Sleep With Me Plus have told me, at first I didn't like you. I was like, what is this? And then I listened again because you asked, you said, give it 2 or 3 tries. And then I said, And then on the third try, I fell asleep, or I realized I was comforted. Now, there are people that do get it right away, and it is a taste thing. Like, I'm just not everybody's cup of tea. It's not a good fit for everybody, but give it a few tries, see how it goes. And the good news is, I'm really not I'm only invested in helping you, not in you liking me, right? That's okay if we're not a fit. And I have a website set up just for that purpose, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And it's not because I'm totally chill, Mr. Rogers or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. Because people do let me know in very strong terms how much they don't, how much of it we're not a fit. But that's okay. Because I've been in sleepless. I've tried tons of different stuff. And so the reality is I'm not a super chill person. It's just that I do want you to be able to get some sleep. So even if you don't like me, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. Instead of letting me know how strongly you don't like me, and you'll find a sleep podcast on there that might be a better fit, or sleep audio. Because in the end, if you're flourishing, it means our world's a better place. Even if you don't particularly like the show, it's a cool thing to know that you might be out there and it wasn't a fit, and that you moved, you found something that worked for you. That means I did something positive for somebody that's been uncomfortable in a way I've been uncomfortable with, or not been able to get the sleep they want when they want it. So that's the important thing to know about the show. Not everybody likes it. Give it a few tries. See how it goes. It's also a podcast that you don't really listen to. You just kind of barely listen to it. It's like background noise, TV on in the other room, show streaming under your pillow, like a party way, way down the street, where you say, okay, it sounds like somebody's having a party far enough away where it's not bothering me and I don't have FOMO or anything. It's just, you're aware, you say, okay, I think there's some bass, there is some thumping bass going on. And again, this isn't snark either. I tell you, every time I hear a thumping bass at a distance, I say, thank goodness I make this podcast, because I love it, at the right distance. A rave going on down the street is a rave I could listen to while I'm lying in bed. Maybe I'm daydreaming. Maybe I'm drifting off. So just having a podcast you don't really listen to is another thing that kind of defies expectations, because you could listen to this show. You could pay attention to it. I'm here working and here to the very end, and I'll be describing as much of ideally 50% of this movie as we can. But yeah, we'll just see how it goes, right? What else? This is a podcast you don't really listen to. It's also a sleep podcast. It's been around since before sleep podcasts were a thing. And there's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. Like, this show is not here to put you to sleep. It's here to keep you company while you fall asleep. And I'll say that again. There's no pressure, no expectation to fall asleep with this show. I'm here to hang with you. And then you suddenly drift off. And for most of us, we had that experience before. Sometimes, like when we're trying to pay attention, and sometimes, I don't know, that's when it always works for me, when sleep creeps up on me and surprises me. Like when I'm trying to get it, it's just out of reach. So for this show, you don't have to reach for anything. I'm here. I'm here to hang. And that's why the episodes are over an hour. Also, there's people here who can't sleep at all or who need a break during the day, who need something to listen to while they work or study, or when they wake up in the middle of the night. And so I'm here to the very end to keep everybody company, whether you're awake or asleep, whether you need to listen to me or not. Because my job is to be your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your neighbor, your borbie, your boreman, your Boris Borloff, your chairman of the boards, Borsib Borkaz, and your best boar friend forever, to just be here on call, talking for your, like, something close to amusement that's not quite amusing. The other thing to know, what's the last thing? Okay, most people don't like me, so you don't listen to this podcast? It doesn't put you to sleep? Oh, structure of the show. I like to point out the structure of the show just in case you're new. There's a lot of ways, especially with good podcasting apps, to kind of adjust how you listen. But this particular version, the version that's we're paying for is like optional. This free version that's listener supported and ad supported is what benefits the most amount of people possible. And most of those people listen linearly. They wind down during the intro and they fall asleep during the episode. And so that's the version we get to put out. If it was just part of a service or an app or something, a lot of people wouldn't get the rest we need or wouldn't get introduced to other sleep podcasts. So show starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in. You say, okay, I could check that podcast out. I feel welcome here. Then there's support, so that paying for the show is optional. Really comes down to if the people that benefit the most from the show support us and our sponsors, will be around for as long as I can do this. Just comes down to those people, like if you listen more than 3 times a week, more than 3 episodes a week. Or if you, the easiest thing is, does this podcast make my life a lot better on a regular basis? But otherwise, you could just be along for the ride. There's nothing wrong with that. Whether you're temporarily here or you're just visiting, or you're like, hey, I need a ride right now for the next couple of years, not in a place to do anything. Okay, don't worry, we got you. So that's the support. Then there's an intro, which is separate from the support. It's a show within a show. And the intro is meant to introduce what the podcast is, but it takes me 15 minutes or 20 minutes. But I introduce it in a new way every time, but I follow a familiar structure so that you have some variety, you have some reassurance, and you say, oh, okay, yeah, I know. It's just, and we all get to hang out together. So the intro, it gives you some freshness so that whatever keeps you awake can't quite adjust. But it's also 15 to 20 minutes because most people are listening while they're getting ready for bed, winding down, doing some chill activity, or in bed getting comfortable. So it's kind of like our community time. There is a small percentage of people that fall asleep fast. We always try to get a hold of them. And then there's some people who listen to bedtime stories from Sleep With Me, which is only the stories because they don't like the intros. And that's totally cool. And if you don't like the intros or you don't like the ads or whatever, you can also get a ton of stuff on Sleep With Me Plus. But yeah, the intro is meant to ease you into bedtime, to be a part of your wind down routine. because that's what works for me most of the time. What I've seen research say works is having a nice bedtime with something pleasant to start the process. And so that's what the intro does. Then after the intro will be support, and then there'll be our coverage of that movie with not James Caan, not Scott Caan, not Shaka Khan, but someone, and not and also there'll be some feelings like in the movie, the book, The Grapes of. But it's a Star Trek movie. We cover in half is probably in a large number of circles, one of the best, if not the best, Star Trek movies. Let's just say it's one of the best. And we'll be here for about an hour. And I'm really glad you came by, whether you're new or this is like your 12,000th time listening to an episode of the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really hope I can help you out. And again, if you're new or you're just listening as you go through something, you don't have to worry about supporting the show. You could follow it in your podcast app. You could comment or like in your podcast app. You could spread the word about the show. Those are all free, low-lift ways to help the podcast. And then if the podcast changes your life, please consider supporting one of these sponsors of the show back directly for those positive changes in your life. Thanks. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. If you are hearing this message and you support the podcast on Sleep With Me Plus, you pay for the podcast, you should not be getting this message. It means you're listening to the ad-supported version of the podcast. And here's what I want. I want to make sure you're getting the ad-free versions of the show, because you get ad-free full episodes. You get ad-free story-only episodes on the same day the full episodes come out. You also get bonus stuff. You get episodes super early or a little bit early. If you're a Boar Friend or Boar Best, you get those all-night, all-intro versions. But if you're listening to this version, you don't have access to that for some reason. So please send me a message through our website, the contact form on our website, so I can help you get everything set up. Because I don't want you missing out on that stuff you're paying your hard-earned money for. But plus, if you listen all night long, if you fall asleep fast, all the versions of those episodes, they're a lot better for all-night listeners. They're a lot better for people that fall asleep fast. So let me help you get everything set up. Send me an email through the contact form on our website so I can help. Thanks. Everybody, this is Scoots here, and we're going to be watching The Grapes of Khan, Star Trek, the original motion picture 2, or Star Trek 2, The Grapes of Khan. I don't know why I didn't think of that title earlier. And I can't remember what I talked about in the intro, because I also split up the intro because I came up with an idea in the intro for a Trending Tuesday episode. But this is a really good film, even on its own. I think it stands alone as a motion picture. If you know nothing about the Star Trek universe, or I'd be interested to hear your thoughts if you watch it. And I haven't watched the whole thing because I'm doing this in 2 parts. So it's been a long time since I've seen it. And I definitely had seen it when I was younger. And then I've seen it a couple times when I was in my Cups phase. And I haven't seen it PCE, post-Cups era. But I have watched the first half of the movie quite a few times now. And I was just watching it yesterday and today again without taking notes or anything. So let me give it one more pleasure half watch because it's that good. And I think what I'm going to do is just go through the film with it on mute and no closed captions and talk about what I see, because it's like a couple mysteries. And I think I would rather people get to enjoy. I don't know, we'll just do it a little differently, see how it goes. Because I have extensive notes, but then I'm like, well, there's so many good, like the acting and the voice acting. You've got a lot of powerful voices, in ways of delivering lines in this that are kind of key. So I don't know. Let me just run through it. I'm getting my app reinstalled right now. And the good thing is I'm going to skip the first 5 minutes. They run through the titles and the credits, which are important, of course, but not necessarily to carrying you off into dreamland. And I don't want to read any facts. I think this movie came out in 1982. I probably saw it in I don't know, not when it came out. It was popular enough that they showed it around my birthday later, like 8 years later, maybe 6 years later, at a big theater here, which didn't show movies all the time. And we went and saw it for my birthday. My dad took me and some friends. I think it was a matinee. And I don't remember how full it was or anything like that. I just remember like, whoa, boy, this is, and then we saw the movie that came after it because it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So yeah, like, I think you'll enjoy it, if you check it out. All right. So at the end, the credits go through space and, yeah, we enjoy the trip through space and nice stars. And then we go to the 23rd century. So it's 21st century. So is it 22 something or 24? I don't know. So we're looking at the Enterprise. We see Spock, first person on screen, Spock. Hello, Spock. Okay. Then we hear and see, see Uhura, then McCoy, then, man, I'm losing track. McCoy, Sulu, and there's also computer screens, and then you say cheers to. Is it Lieutenant Savick? Let me just look up. Some of this I like to get at least somewhat correct. Savick, Kirstie Alley. Now, we don't know exactly what they're talking about because we're not following the things. We see like a blinking light. Everybody's looking up at it. Everybody does a lot of moving of their eyes in different directions. She lowers her eyelids. Uhura says, let me check that. Savick, we see is a Vulcan. There's another blinking light. What's that blinking light on the ship? Kobayashi Maru. That's another ship we're looking at inside a circle. And it scoots pauses it. We know it's like a fuel carrier, neutronic, class 3. Tau Ceti 4 is where it's registered, Amber. Kohiro Vance runs the ship, 81 crew, 300 passengers, max cruise speed, warp factor 3, but it could go up to warp factor 6 briefly if it needs to. And then Savick says, okay. And Spock says, wait a second, what? And then Sulu says, I'm sorry, could I look over my shoulder and ask you a question? He's not sure about it. He kind of makes a face, but he tracks something. Oh, yeah, we're going to go into this circle. We got to go through this. It's like kind of like an old-fashioned video game, Sulu says, or like Star Fox. And then Spock's like, what are you playing, Star Fox? And this is everybody on the ship's like, this is no time to play Star Fox. And everybody turns. Series of shots. Then we have 3 birds, Klingon birds on screen. Say, turn the lights out. This is no longer a game. Those are real. Are they real? Yeah, they're real enough. Oh boy, one's got a red light and it's pointing it at us. Laser pointer. Then there's fireworks. Sulu, says, I'm going to leave. I don't want to watch fireworks. not Scotty. Then somebody else turns around, some nameless person, McCoy, right? He says, I'm going to lie down here. Spock says, I'm going to lay down by my lower back. Uhura was sleeping, and then a door opens, and this is the first big entrance, legendary entrance. Makes me wonder how long it's been since we've seen James T. Kirk, because this is quite an entrance. Lights behind him. Saavik faces him, lights on her face. He's got something under his arm, hand maybe in his pocket. We can't see his profile is there, but it's a profile we know. And we see it's James T. Kirk carrying a book. Oh, he's hands in his pockets, holding his belt, looking cool. Then we see, oh wait, this is acting. Spock actually wasn't tired. He was pretending to be tired. And he dismisses everybody. But Saavik says, I'm not dismissed, am I? Bones is chilling on the floor like he's posing for a photo. He says, if you like it, look longer or something. And they say, no, Bones, that's not what we're here to do. And then Kirk wants to talk to Saavik. He stands behind her to talk to her and listen. And he's on like a stage of the ship above her. So he wants to make sure she knows that he's Commander James T. Kirk formally. Because in this movie, he's Admiral James T. Kirk. Still has a book under his arms, which I already know what it is, so I could tell you later. But then his original crew's all hanging, are the ones other than Spock. And they seem nonplussed. Then he exits and says, this facility is, just for practice. He goes to get on a lift or something. Spock's waiting for him. He's like, Spock, I was about to start reading my book. What's up? What's up? My favorite Vulcan. And Spock says, Vulcans don't have favorites. It's interesting. And then there's actually somebody cleaning up behind them. They're not on a starship. There's trees outside. They're in some sort of walkway. Maybe they weren't even on a turbo lift. They're in some sort of lobby, like got ferns. It's got a big globe, or maybe it's a giant astrolabe. And he says, what do you think about the giant astrolabe? I don't know, my man. What I was trying to explain to you is that it's second level of Starfleet Training Command that's revealed, shown, not told. But however, Kirk leaves, Spock's like, wait a second, what? Also, they have, a lot of times in the movies, they upgrade the uniforms. This one is particularly upgraded. It has mock turtlenecks, and not just any mock turtleneck, kind of like ribbed mock turtle. It's not even a mock turtleneck. It's a collar, like a mock turtleneck. Almost, I'd say a half turtleneck. It's not mock. What is a mock turtleneck? Is that a half? I guess technically it's like a loose half turtleneck. This is like a circular collar. But whatever, Kirk ends it with something that just leaves Spock like, I don't even know what to say about that. Then we go to this pad, and it's like I said, holy 1970s. Kirk's chilling in this pad. It's got a view of a bay. It could be a San Francisco Bay. He's in a tower, like, because it's a high view. And it's like twilight or something. Looks good out there. And this place is well decorated. Not a huge apartment, but, probably in a very nice area to be in. And, well taken care of. Nice place, you'd say. And he's got a ship, though, his carpet. Is he in loungewear? And he opens the door. Who's there but his best bud, McCoy? And McCoy hands him a gift and says, here you go. There's a gift for you. I'm going to take my jacket off, let myself in. McCoy looks like he's headed out, he's going to work on the Jungle Cruise as a skipper. but like the 23rd century version of it. I think he has his underwear on his outside of his pants, or that's just the look. He does have some nice green highlights to his clothes, so he gives reading glasses to Kirk. Kirk goes, "Are these reading glasses or what?" He goes, "Yeah, they're for reading. I see you got a book, and now you got reading glasses." Reading glasses? Cheers, reading glasses. They take a cheers. And Kirk does not like the taste. He says, "What is this? Like Fernet?" Goes, "It's even better." Because I'd rather drink these reading glasses. And McCoy says, "You could if you want to." And Kirk says, "Well, I think I'll walk on my carpet here. I'm in a robe. I'm in a robe, shirt like a robe and pants, slippers. I think he's in Chelsea boots, actually." And he says, "So McCoy, is that your underwear on the outside of your pants, or is that just a look?" And McCoy says, "You got one comfortable chair. He's got a fireplace with curves on, like curved fireplace." He says, "I'm here to sit in front of your curved fireplace in your curved chair." He says, "How come in these modern things everything looks more comfortable?" And Kirk says, "I'm not comfortable." He says, "Well, I'm in your comfortable chair. Why do I only have one comfortable chair?" "Well, I have another one, so I'll sit in it. It's different, though, not curved." And then McCoy says, Why do you have two comfortable chairs? What are you not telling me?" And he says, "Why don't you read with your reading glasses?" And he says, is there a resident that, and he goes, "No, if my friend comes over and takes my first comfortable chair, I have a second comfortable chair." And McCoy goes, "Are you sure that there's not someone regularly sitting in this chair that's not me?" And then we see space again, and we see a ship, NCL 1886. It's not the Enterprise, a different class ship, or maybe it's Enterprise class, different shape. It's headed towards a dusty planet, like a little bit like Jupiter. It's got a lot of clouds. It's got a sun. And who do we see? One actor who's been on other episodes of Star Trek, including one of the greatest ones of all time. And his arms are not wide at this point, Temba arms wide, but they could be. Paul Winfield, the great Paul Winfield. And Chekhov is his officer, or like his Spock, I guess. And Paul Winfield's character's name is Tyrell. And he's, in the captain's chair. He's like, "Let me stand up here. Let me walk around. My whatever that's called, bridge looks different. A little bit more utilitarian, less fabric." Chekhov says, "There's a sun, there's a planet, sir. I see them both." He says, "Yeah, but what are we doing?" And Chekhov says, "See, there's these lines here, and then there's a wave. Then there's another wave, like a spectrogram." And he says, "Well, what are you checking for?" Then he goes over to somebody else. He says, "Can you double check Chekhov's work for me?" "I'm going to sit down." Chekhov says, "Sir, my work doesn't need another thing, but we're going to go to a beautiful shot of a space station." It ends up, they said, "Oh, let's call the space station." They got neon, gas spectrometers. And we get these characters that we could only assume are scientists based on the way they're dressed. And she's having a FaceTime call with Paul Winfield and Chekhov, and she's not happy about it. Then she goes to this guy. They're both blonde. And I'm not sure this is the same actor from that Brooke Shields movie with the kids in Lagoon. But I always thought it was the same. I never saw that movie. I'd never seen it my whole life. But I've seen the trailers for it. And I said, "Is that the kid from Blue Lagoon?" Now much more of a man. And in this case, a scientist man. And she's also a scientist. Don't know if they're related or she's a supervisor. Stuff to say. But they're discussing something about the call, and she's making a face like, and then he's kind of like, he doesn't seem comfortable with the call. She seems slightly amused by his reaction, but also miffed. I think, they're Gravitronics C, Gravitronics D. Those are a couple of departments there. And they have a discussion about it, and he's like, by the way, like, I wear a sleeveless shirt. You know, I wear a short sleeve, you wear long sleeves. And she says, well, I like your short sleeves. Let me tuck on them and head off to work to FR 101. Okay, then we go back to ship with Winfield and Chekhov, or Tyrell and Chekhov. They're circling the planet. Then we get to energize in 2 spacesuits, yellow and a red, race car styling, big helmets, some sort of detectors, a lot of mist, maybe even a sandstorm. And those 2 are looking around, but somehow, due to great cinematography and effects, you could see the faces of the 2 characters. And I'm presuming you could hear their dialogue, so it's Tyrell and Chekhov. There's a sun low in the sky behind the sand. They're wandering around. They're looking for something they're scanning for it. They're scanning for stuff. And then they find an old box. And they look at each other and say, there's an old box. Is this what we've been is this what we've been scanning for? And it looks like an RV or a couple RVs. And Winfield says, Chekhov, put your helmet on mine, like in the movies, before we go in. So they touch helmets. Then they go in to where, and it's got it's breathable oxygen. They take off their helmets. It's kind of one of those things that's like, somebody just leave here because there's food, there's a heater, or water distiller or something. And they look around, and their suits indoors don't look as good as they do outdoors. They kind of look like they made them at home. There's a checkers or some sort of similar game. There's a terrarium. Paul Winfield says, is this some sort of terrarium? I wonder if there's what's in this terrarium, if it's just plant matter. And Chekhov says, this is one of the mysteries of the movie. I'm going to start to look around. There's books, Moby Dick, Paradise Lost, King Lear, the Inferna, Paradise Regained, 2 copies of Paradise Lost, 1 copy of Paradise Gained, King Lear, and then something called Statute Regulating. I wonder if I could even see closer. I think the Bible? Can't quite see, but I think that one is Holy Bible. And a belt buckle for the SS Botany Bay. Chekhov sees the belt buckle. Botany Bay, he says, you clearly see. He says Botany Bay over and over again. And then he goes, whoa, like kind of Keanu style. And he goes, looks up, he goes, man, you guys see it's super what we got to go check this out. And when Tyrell goes, okay. And he goes, no, we got to get out of out of the ship. We got to hit the road. And then they open and they pause, and out in the sandstorm are people dressed up for some sort of event, maybe trick-or-treating. Then we go back to Tyrell's ship, and they're trying to call them, 2 of the characters that work, 2 of the staff members. And they say, yeah, I can't even get through. Not working. Shouldn't have sent down the 2 most important people on the ship, maybe. Okay, then we're back. We got Tyrell and Chekhov. We see somebody removing their warm gloves. And then they're outdoor, because I guess so it's cold out there, clearly, because they're getting off their winter gear. And it's a slow reveal where we see their lips, we see Chekhov watching. Then we see their eyes. Oh, no, their whole face. And famous face, especially back then, Ricardo Montalban, who was on a totally different style show. So his casting is epic in this case, that he's so good at this role. And it's even better now, I think, because he doesn't have, and you don't have any history with him. But he's like, you say, like, is that gravity or gravitas? But he's got a stern look on his face. He's glaring at Chekhov. He throws his winter clothes to one of his assistants. There's a bunch of other people there. Also a blonde guy in a headband who kind of looks like he's from like a roller derby futuristic movie. He seems to be the second in command. Like that he could start breakdancing or roller skating dancing at any moment, but in some sort of way that says, but anyway, this Ricardo Montalban does play the Khan, and he talks to Winfield, then he talks to Chekhov, he's given a stern talking to, and Chekhov is not breaking eye, like he's not blinking. There he just blinked. But for a while he wasn't blinking. And then whatever he says to him, then he blinks a lot. Because Khan's like, would you make these spacesuits yourself? These regulations are made from cardboard and paper mache. And Chekhov says, these are regulation spacesuits. And then Paul Winfield says, listen, like, you realize, like, we just beamed down here to look into this mystery. And Khan kind of says, this mystery? What about this mystery? All my friends. And everybody's staring. And they already taken off their winter clothes. So it's warm in this RV or extended RV. Paul Winfield says, I'm hot in this spacesuit. Khan says, you're not hot in this spacesuit. And he goes, no, I am. And the guy listening along, he's loving that Khan's really, he goes, you'll be as hot as I want you to be in your spacesuits. Give you some space. And he's going on and on and on. Chekhov's just, Chekhov is not comfortable with the situation. So he's watching Khan. And Khan's just saying, yeah, me, my friends, you're our guests now. And Tyrell says, what do you mean our guests? We're on a work mission. He goes, no, I'm your guests. You and Chekhov here. He goes, Chekhov, you know Chekhov? Are you familiar with Chekhov? And because you two showed up here and you didn't even have an invite. And then Chekhov says something, and Khan's like, I have no tolerance for you. He goes, are you being a smart aleck, Mr. Chekhov? He's really not happy about it. And in the movie, he's kind of laying out all the, like, really powerful stuff. But when you're watching on mute without subtitles and trying not to describe what's happening, it still does seem powerful. Like he's saying, you two, and then this one. And he's going back and forth. And Winfield's like, what is going on here? Because it's really, if on mute, it seems self-indulgent. Because he's making a speech. But everybody's watching like he's a hero, except for Tyrell and Chekhov. And Chekhov goes, you're no hero. He goes, I don't even like you. And Khan goes, this guy says he doesn't even like me. Wait a second. You don't like me? And then he says to Paul Winfield, this guy doesn't like me? Wait a second. This is delightful. You just reminded me of something. Maybe it's a song. And then now this is where it's interesting. So Chekhov and Winfield have these like handles on the fronts of their suit. I think so you can hang them up later. But Khan also has super strength. So he says, look, I can even hold up your suit. Let's see if it is made of cardboard. And it turns out it's not. And so he's able to lift up Chekhov and the suit. He puts him down. And he says, let me take my jacket off because I'm in great shape. Have you seen my terrarium? And Winfield says, actually, I have. He goes, this is a grape terrarium. And they say, grape terrarium. He goes, oh, yeah, grapes. It's full of, these are grape plants. And he goes, these are grape friends. And Paul Winfield's like, what is this? He starts sweating. And he goes, I'm going to take some grapes out of here. And they say, grapes? He goes, these are the grapes of Khan. And they, wait. So he starts filling a jar with grapes that aren't, like they said, grapes grow on vines, not in a terrarium with some sort of grape-producing beings. But he fills a bowl with these grapes. They do look delectable. But both of them are like, we're not eating any grapes. And Khan just says, grapes? You're eating grapes? Did I say you're going to eat grapes? And then he touches his ear. He says, I didn't say anything about eating grapes. And they say, you're not going to put any grapes in our ear, by the way. And he goes, oh, no. I want you to listen. And then this is called Khan's Whisper, unofficially. Khan's Whisper. He fills his mouth with grapes, which looks ridiculous. And so both Tyrell and what do you call it? Chekhov are like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to spit grapes at us? But all he does is he whispers in their ears, like kind of like, it's just weird having someone with a whole, like his cheeks are full of grapes. And then he starts whispering in their ears. Then he fills their, now this is the part that wasn't so great, a little bit of a gagster. After he whispers in their ear, which seems to have some sort of effect on them, he puts their helmets back on with the grapes and then smushes their heads with grape juice, which wasn't so nice. Nobody wants to, it's very sticky and stuff. And then he sits down and he's like, did you hear my whisper? Now that you're covered in grape juice, I hope you heard me. I hope you heard what I was whispering, and I hope you listen to the lesson I've given you. Okay, then we have a scene with Kirk on a shuttle reading. First, he looked like he was in the loo, but no, he's in a shuttle. Shuttle that looks like a loo, or he's in the loo. Does a shuttle have a loo? Huh. Well, now we see another shuttle. Maybe he was in the loo. And we see space docked. The Enterprise is space docked. Oh, no, he's standing up with his book under his arm. And he says, there she is. See people working on the ship. You can see why there's comedy movies based on this. And old McCoy stands up behind him. The ship does look great. Oh, boy, are all the upgrades done? That ship looks great. The rest of the crew smiling. Then we see the shuttle comes in for a dock. It has to reverse. I'm assuming it has reverse cameras. Shuttle 5 coming in, backing up. We got a seal. And they blow the Navy whistle. Sabick and Spock are side by side, ready for inspection, I'm assuming. Still got that book, eh? And your fist is clutched. Wonder if that's something going on with Kirk. He hands his book over. Says, let me take a look at this amazing group of people. Oh, there's his old buddy Scotty. I get McCoy and Scotty mixed up. Or no, is that McCoy or Scotty? Scotty's different than McCoy. McCoy's the care person. Scotty's in charge. Oh, we get a little, we meet a new character who we'll see again later. And they're wearing, all this is engineering. They all have their space suits on. They have rings. And Spock seems pleased. He says, go to board or whatever. Everybody walks off. Not a lot of eye contact with Spock. even Scotty avoids it. Then they talk in Vulcan. They're talking. So there's Saavik and Spock talking about who's it? What's his name? Captain Kirk, right? We get above shot of Kirk exploring more of the ship or checking more of the ship from like the second floor. Interesting shot. Oh, he checks. He does a little white tissue treatment, and Scotty's pretty happy. Wow, we do get a lot of previews here. We see another sealed off chamber. All looks. He goes, this thing's spick and span. Really love it. And then he goes on the elevator, and McCoy says something about something. He goes, later, bro. Then we get a sequence of lights coming on. I'm assuming these are practical effects, and they look great on a model or something. It really looks great. Then we're on the bridge. And who's in the captain's chair but Spock? And McCoy and Kirk come onto the bridge. Kirk's really nostalgic, savoring it, confused. And Spock just signs something off. He's sitting in the commander's chair, captain's chair. Now he turns. He takes some time. He says, boss, what's up? How's it going? And Saavik says, interesting. Did you call on me? Maybe he says, should I let the admiral sit in the captain's chair? I think I will. Why don't you take a seat here? It's a new chair. We kept everything, including any gases you put off, Kirk, in this chair. This is an upgraded chair. We didn't replace anything. Oh, no, Saavik goes. He says, Saavik, why don't you, I think she's going to pull out of the space dock. I mean, I'd say, okay, I guess I resign if I have to do it in front of Admiral Kirk. Kirk's like, what are you doing, Spock? This is my ship. And they head out of space dock. Well, you see nice paneling, not like the paneling on the hull of the ship is not perfectly one color. So we see a patchwork of colors. It really does add to the realism and the look. It's a slow exit. Somebody in a spacesuit's waving. You can't tell if they're saying, whoa, slow it down. No wake. No wake. NCC 1701 heading out into space. Presumably for just a short spin. But yeah, it continues to head out into space. We see more shots of the ship looking amazing. Shot of like giant windows. I don't know if that's 10 forward or that's probably on the next Enterprise or the Enterprise after that. Maybe they're equivalent. Saavik says, see, it didn't bump anything. So tone it down, Kirk. Got walking around the bridge, a little bit of talking. Sulu thinks something's funny. I don't know what, because I don't have any way of knowing. Kirk is pleased, too. Of course, McCoy's not. And then they head out, and then they're going to, let's hit some warp, or let's go fast. Next, we see the space station. We've seen it before. It has 4 landing platforms. We see old Blue Lagoon looking good. Sleeves are rolled up. Great arms on this Blue Lagoon. And he turns something off. He says, hey, let's talk, you and I. And then someone on the second floor says, we got a call coming in. Okay, put it through to my line, but don't listen in. And who is it but Chekhov? And he's clearly under the influence of Khan's whisper. Kind of like Khan's whisper, not a careless whisper, just in case you're thinking of Wham, not a careless whisper. His is an intentional whisper. So he's now whispering something to the scientist, and she's like, I don't like whatever you're whispering. He even smiles, which gives some people a chuckle, and then but she's like, no. And he's laying out some stuff. I do remember this scene pretty clearly. So, there's a guy, you can wear a sleeveless shirt. There's a really well-proportioned bicep guy in the background. Sleeveless, so that'd be comfortable for me. I'm glad I could get behind being a scientist on there. So you choose your sleeves. Okay, then Blue Lagoon and the lead scientist are like, this is not, they don't like anything. That's Chekhov is saying now, glaring at him. Sorry. I'm just wondering, you know. I'm trying to make this, and then we see that Khan's running the show. And he's telling Chekhov what to whisper. They cut off the thing. Khan wears one glove. And something that looks like from the movie Avengers, a necklace from the movie Avengers. It's actually a Starfleet symbol. We go back to the Enterprise. It's trucking through space. We're at Turbo Lift B. And Saavik gets on after some sort of seemingly a martial arts class. Her hair's down. She says, excuse me, my hair's down. And Kirk says, interesting, your hair's down. She says, yeah, this is Starfleet regulations. She hits a button. He says, okay, tell me. What kind of martial arts do you practice? And she says, none of your business. I don't need to inform you about my martial arts, or I don't even call them martial arts. And he laughs. He says, was that a double entendre? She goes, absolutely not. So pull it together. And he says, yeah, that's what I'm here to do, actually. My life's, and then who's waiting outside the door? But McCoy, who wants to he says, I've been waiting forever for this turbo lift, man. What are you doing? Talking about martial arts? And Kirk says, I totally, I got to take a call. Excuse me. He takes a call. Interesting, McCoy. Interesting, huh? Did you call? Okay, tell me again. And McCoy has something quippy to say. And Kirk says, don't get quippy with me when I'm not in the mood for we're friends after hours. He gets off on D. He gets a call from the same scientist who's she doesn't have a great signal. So she's trying to tell Kirk something critical and important and confirm something with him clearly. And he's like, I'm sorry. There's some sort of flux. We got a flux issue or something. Could you say that again? She says, stop asking me to say it again. I know you just don't want to understand me. And then the signal goes out. He looks at the board. He says, interesting, signals out. Not exactly sure what to do. Then we see the ship again. Oh, we see the scientists. They're having a meeting. You see, they got a nice microscope. They got a bunch of tools, but they're having a big meeting. Let's debate this. She says, my neck is killing me from this discussion. And we do see a variety of sleeve types and sizes. We probably count 6 there. And that would be 12 sleeves. Then we see Spock in some sort of meditative cloak and state. He's meditating in a very clerical-like outfit. I think he does have a full turtleneck on that one. He says, Jim, what's up? You interrupted my meditation. And Kirk says, what style of meditation do you prefer? Because he goes, I love this mirror. He's got like an infinity mirror. And he says, Jim, I'm not looking in the mirror right now. I was meditating. He says, check me out in this mirror. It's like I'm in, I don't know. And he goes, Jim, what do you need? He says, the scientist called from a space station. She wasn't happy with me, but I don't understand why. And also I got, confused. I I didn't try to make small talk with Savik about martial arts. That didn't go well. He says, Jim, I'm not your mother's keeper. And he laughs at that because he knows that means that it really Spock is. And he goes, I'm not your father's keeper either, or your mother, or your father, Jim, or your brother, or your friend. I'm your logical asset. And he goes, logical asset, logical asset. And he says, Jim, I'm not your principal either, but I could be. Now, let me explain to you what a logical asset actually is, Jim. In this situation with a scientist, logically, we're having a miscommunication issue. We've got to figure it out. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to talk closer to you so you understand. This is not part of play acting or joking. I'm trying to talk to you, Captain to Admiral. It's an uncomfortable situation, so maybe you should just be captain of the ship. You're the Admiral. And Kirk says, perfect, glad I could take over. And then he heads right to the bridge. Says, effective immediately, I think, taking over the ship. I've got a beautiful voice. They say, what about, does this mean Spock's not going to be, no, he goes, we now have a logical asset named Spock. And I'll be taking over. Savik, you're in the chair. And she goes, I'm buckled in the chair. And Sulu says, she's buckled in the chair. And there's a new guy. And then there's another new guy. And they're friends with Savik. And Sulu says, I need to hear, I can't just hear about a logical asset. I need clearance from, but we'll go to warp anyway. Check this base out. 1884 or whatever, that's Paul Winfield's ship, now run by Khan, sitting in the commander's chair. Paul Winfield stands at attention. So when he gets a whisper, it's different than when Khan and his first in command, roller disco musical guy. He's even got a tattered silken sateen warm-up suit and a beautiful headband in a padded vest. But again, we see I think we're seeing the different ways commanders and first commanders interact. And we see that Khan's actually wearing half a uniform now. I wonder if he was wearing that before. He's not happy about it. And you kind of see he's a little bit indulgent in his own self-righteous anger, I think. We go back to the Enterprise. They're navigating. And let's press some buttons. Let's see if we can get this, get to communicate. It's not working. The communication is not working. Okay, we go back. Spock says, I have to report to you that the communication isn't working, Admiral, Captain. He goes, okay, Captain, First Officer. Because why did you pick teal as a chair color? And Spock says, this is not teal. It's turquoise bluebird shell. It's a form of turquoise, kind of like an off-white turquoise with green sea foam. And he goes, yeah, but like, what if you spill? Oh, well, they're stain-proof and spill-proof. Because we got to have a meeting. I can't be serious in these chairs. And they have to get a secret message for the only people that authorize are Kirk, who gets his retinal scan. Kirk, optical disc. James T. Kirk, Spock can watch, and McCoy can watch. 71330, Project Genesis. It's a slideshow. We meet the scientist. She's the head of Project Genesis. Oh, she was the one on the call. And she's explaining what Project Genesis is. She says, hey, we're looking for, this is our second round of funding for Project Genesis. It's a fractal-based art system. and it's got fireworks and laser light show that looks like a neon. And then there's a Helix ride. There's also, it's run by a Genesis device. It's a theme park and a device, a theme park and a device. And you can see we're going to send it down to this moon. And now when it goes to the moon, it will have impact, and the planet will change from a cratered moon-like planet. Probably not a lot of things existing on there. It'll sparkle, and then it'll it's terraforming, basically. If you've, it's instant terraform, and it'll become a place totally, what do they call it? Thematic, atmosphere, like themed lands, hotels, water features, atmosphere, everything. The whole planetoid, theme park, planetoid, not a whole planet. That'll be a theme park for recreation. Spock says, why does anyone recreate anyway? And McCoy's like, I got to make us some serious stuff here. Kirk says, opinions. And Spock says, I think that was an opinion. It was stated as a question. McCoy says, I got grandkids. I got to pay for tickets for these kind of things. The more theme parks, you think the theme park price is going to go down? He goes, Spock goes, I don't understand your question. Like, we would get a discount through the Starfleet. And he goes, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about people like me, grandfathers, grandmothers, parents, and paying out the nose for these theme park planets, even when it's not a whole planet. And he goes, it's a planet. Spock says it's a planetoid, themed lands. It's worth every penny. It's just terraformed instantly. And McCoy is beside himself. You get this guy? Planetoid. He wants to correct my, and he goes, what are you, defending the theme park barons? And Spock says, they don't need my defense. I'm merely commenting on your commenting. Kirk goes, theme park planet. We're not here to judge anything. We're here to figure out what's going on. Why was the scientist so displeased with me? And then they say, we got a ship on board. We see a ship, sir. See a ship. Okay. That's another, it's the Reliant, the USS Reliant, NCC 1864. Tyrell's the captain, but they say unofficial name of the ship now, Grapes of Khan. He said, wait a second, what? Saavik says, we can't get a hold of them. That dialogue, I think, was just on board Khan's ship. And they said, did you try all the channels to get a hold of them? Yeah, obviously. Or did you unmute the microphone? Yes, I did. Okay, well, it's just sitting there. What's going on? Well, a little game. Khan does this thing. He's like, I love playing games. He goes, prepare the grape jelly launchers. We're going to cover the ship in grape jelly. Head to toe. It's not just grapes. It's sticky, sugary, very low grape, barely any grape juice even in grape jelly. And I cannot wait. And they face each other, but no one on Enterprise knows what's going on. So Kirk's like, what is going on here? Tyrell, you're always reliable. Please come back. We're trying to get a hold of you. You sure you were unmuted? I'll hit unmute again. And then Kirk says, I don't, something's off. My throat's tickling. Be prepared for anything. And then Spock says, anything? He goes, anything that, And then they go back to Khan's ship. Grape jelly loaded. We're going to put up our shields in case they try marmalade or something. Okay, aim the grape jelly at the bridge. And Khan says, grape jelly. But they actually shoot it into, they cover the engineering in grape jelly. And it actually, like, is made to go into the ship, and it covers engineers with grape jelly. Also, it's like a perfect shot. So the grape jelly also shuts down all the engines, closes some giant door, causes there's tons of grape jelly on the ship. So much that people are swimming in jelly. They're like they said, good thing we got these suits on. Come on, everybody. We got to get out of here. In case we have to have our uniforms inspected or something. Also, it causes the ship to be destabilized. So Kirk's like, Scotty, what's going on down there? We're all covered in grape jelly, sir. It's the grapes of Khan. Kirk says there's no grapes really in grape jelly. Grape jam, maybe? Grape preserves? Spock says, I've never heard of grape preserves, sir. Preserved grapes. We got grapes all over 5 points on the ship. Ship's not even operable because it's messed things up. We're not even aerodynamic anymore. Stuff's sticking to us. Then they send one more grape jelly right at the bridge. Gets through to the bridge. Splatters a decent amount of grape jelly on the bridge. Everybody's running around. Okay, are we sure? Anybody have a pectin? Like, is anybody sensitive to pectin or grape jelly or sugar? Get off the bridge. Go take a shower. And Kirk's like, what are we gonna do here? I got to come up with some kind of plan. And this is the time when he says, sir, all communications have been jammed. And he says, did you just make a pun? It's the most inopportune time. He goes, sir, I did not make a pun. The communications are jammed by jelly, not jam. We have determined it's a jelly. It does have, but there is some, they didn't just send over jelly. They did send over preserves. Who? And then Khan comes on the screen and Kirk cannot believe his eyes. What? Hey, remember me? Yeah. Remember my love of grapes? Remember the thing I did with my grapes? I remember you, James T. Kirk. I remember you in my heart. And he goes, what are you doing? Kirk says, why are you covering us in jelly? I covered you in my own. It's not jelly, actually. It's jelly jam and preserves. It's the perfect thing for messing up starships and getting caught in your suit. Getting caught, like, you can have, are these grape seeds? No, they're like, I found the most annoying seeds I could find. And then Kirk tastes it. He says, this is delicious. I don't understand it. He goes, we wanted to tell you the recipe. Oh boy, you won't believe it. The secret ingredient is this. And then, he's a prankster. He spits on the ground. That was after Kirk had tasted it. So Kirk says, I can't believe it. He goes, it is delicious, though, isn't it? Your spit, I guess technically it is delicious when it's mixed with whatever stuff you mixed it with. I'm sure it's so low. And Khan goes, you'll never know whatever the ratios. Kirk turns around he says, everybody that doesn't like spit, get off too. And he says, let me whisper to you, Spock. We got to come up with a secret plan. Savik, you got that thing muted? Yep. Okay. What are we going to do? Because we can't fly. And Khan wants something from us, obviously. He's telling us he could go full jelly if he wanted to. And Kirk says, hey, listen, I got to, there must be an ultimatum. He goes, oh, no ultimatums. And then Kirk says, I need my reading glasses, actually, to look something up on the screen. Don't want anybody to see my reading glasses, though. And Spock and Savik are like, okay, we're going to do a little substitute. He goes, yeah, I'm going to press all these buttons. And what are we going to do? Well, interesting. Spock, tell me the polarity. Do you know anything about reversing the polarity of all of those ingredients? And Savik and Spock are like, actually, yeah. the electrostatic on the hull of the ship. So Spock says, yeah, it could be done, Captain. Goes, okay, just play it cool. And then he goes back to Khan. He goes, you've graped us, Khan, like a grape ape. You've got us. We really are at your mercy. And, I have reading glasses now, so, I am humbled. Just give me one more second. Turns around. Are you almost done? And then make sure when I turn around, you mute me, Savick. She goes, I realize that, Captain. And they go, okay, let's put in the code 163009. That's the wavelength. And then all of a sudden, Khan's ship says, Captain Khan, the grape stuff, it's coming off their ship. It's liquefied in a strange way, and they're spraying it back on us. And all of a sudden, like it somehow, I guess with the electrostatic and some sort of flow thing, that Vulcans are good at, math, they send all the grape in a concentrated form. They get it all over the other ship. They shut that ship down, and they covered in my own. And even this crew is like, they know the ratios, so they say, this is, we're covered in grape stuff. And Kirk is like, that's how you work as a team to reverse, a grapey situation. That was grape, everybody. Grape work. That was so grapey. And then Scotty shows up with the kid we had met earlier. He's covered in grape juice head to toe, and it's already started to dry, and he's very sticky. There's paperwork stuck to him, and he says, look at this, Captain, because we don't even have any bread or toast to put this to any use. And look at how, the guy's just like, I'm covered in grapes. Oh, man. So, like, I was a rookie. This is worse. So embarrassing. And stuck in his hair. And, the seeds. So everybody turns and they say, holy cow. Unacceptable. And the reason it's the most unacceptable, it kind of is at... right where we'll stop, like get a close-up on Spock, who closes his eyes and says, everybody remembers that moment. Kind of like the episode we did, Losing Your Swimsuit, where you could spill something on yourself at an inopportune time. In this case, this is this rookie on the ship. He's covered in grape juice. I think he was like, he happened to be off duty, so he was not clothed at the time. But, now he's covered in grape juice and paperwork. So, like, he was in, like, the crew quarters when it filled up with this jelly jam preserved mixture. So just extra embarrassing for him. Nobody else was covered in it. Nobody else then fell into, like, also it was, like, paperwork that had just been completed in triplicate. Carbon copies. I don't know if you know what those are, but so he kind of looks like he's like a grapey bird. So the other thing is people are also giggling and they're feeling like, because Scotty is very parental and he's very over the top dramatic, we'd say. So like then people start to find it hilarious, which makes it worse. Because it is hilarious and it's relatable. We've all been embarrassed, but also because he was carrying him like a baby, like, and he was saying it in like, he's got a Scottish accent, my little baby bird. And then even Kirk says, my little baby grapey bird. So that'll be probably that guy's nickname for now. But then what they do is they say, hey, let's say you put him in a warm bath. Take him down to my quarters, Kirk says. Put him in a warm bath. He goes, so don't worry. Well, he goes, we're going to need an ultrasonic cleaner or something. Don't drain the water because it will clog the drain. So he goes, by the way, Spock, Saavik, go with Scotty because he can't, because everybody else let's take a break. Warm baths for everybody. And if you're clean, you're grape-free, get in bed, take a nap, and we'll get back to work soon, dealing with the grapes of Khan. Good night, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And I'm excited to tell you about my Helix mattress. I took the Helix quiz after I moved at helixsleep.com/sleep. And I got matched with an amazing mattress that fits my sleep needs, my feel preferences. And every winter night, I'm cuddled up in there. I am so cozy. How about you and your mattress? Do you have that kind of same relationship where every night you say, "Hey, boo, I can't wait to see you." Like a mattress that fits your needs. What do you want in a mattress? What's going to make you comfortable so that you could drift off into dreamland? That's what Helix has figured out, because you go to helixsleep.com/sleep. You take that Helix quiz. Helix matches you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and sleep needs. It makes buying a mattress so easy. It brings such peace of mind. Helix mattresses are award-winning beds, not just my favorites, but they've been tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes and Wired. And that Helix mattress comes straight to your door. Free shipping in the U.S., and I know I'm sleeping good in my Helix. I just don't know about you and the mattress you have right now. Maybe it is time for an upgrade. And now is the perfect time, because, of course, Helix has a deal for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 27% off site-wide during the President's Day sale. Now through March 1st. This offer is exclusive for listeners of Sleep With Me. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for this exclusive offer, 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody.